Hello everybody, it's my reaction here. Today we're going to react to Mr. Nightmare 3 Disturbing True Swinging Car Stories by Dwayne and Jazz. Now I might do another Among Us gameplay tonight. Maybe. And yeah, let's go.
How is one today? Loyalist. Kingdom name's Dwayne.
My name's Jazz.
What Dwayne and Jazz, hey, we have for you 5 disturbing true swimming pool horror stories by Mr. Nightmare. And if you guys want your reaction requests to be heard, follow us on all our social medias and the link in the description below. And don't forget to
subscribe.
And we got the new Loyalist merch.
Get that
Link in the
link
below.
in the merch.
Link in the merch
in
below.
the link.
Merch in bio. Let's not
Merch
want it.
link in bio. What's the link in the merch?
Hold on.
Hey, hey,
Hold on.
hey, hey.
Hey, hold on.
Go.
I'm swimming in the pool, looking cool. Diamonds got my jewels, and they drool, and it's wet like a pool.
It was approaching the end of the
Let
summer,
me know.
and my friends and I wanted to do some cool, mischievous things before going back to school. So, we had the genius idea one night to sneak into a nearby community pool. It was actually only a couple blocks away. It's right smack in the middle of a residential area. So instead of sitting on a main road or something, it actually just sat around a bunch of houses on a quiet road.
Oh, well, that's
During
how
a hot day, the
mine
little
was
parking
at my
lot would be
parents'
full,
house.
and the spot would be bustling. But at 1 in the morning, the place was of course dead. There's obviously
it
a
was
big
open.
fence surrounding the whole front entrance, as well as a cage that gets closed up when the place closes. So our best way was to get in through the side. We snuck into the backyard of a neighboring house and hopped the fence over to the pool. It was as easy as that. The 4 of us took off our shirts and jumped into the pool, which in retrospect wasn't smart, since any of the neighbors could have heard the splashes and just called the police. But we were dumb high schoolers. It was very, very dark within that whole enclosing. This pool had no lights, which is why it closed at sunset. James, Courtney, and Alyssa were on the other side of the pool, as I was just kind of doing my own thing at first, swimming around and getting my face wet. I saw Alyssa get out of the pool shortly after and run away. I swam over to see what was going on.
She was gonna tell.
She was just going to the water fountain, though.
Oh.
I'm like, she's not
Alyssa
real.
just walked around in the water for a bit, and eventually we heard Alyssa jump back into the pool from the other side. It was too dark to see much more than her black hair covering her face. But just then, we heard Alyssa playfully call something to us as she was walking back to the pool.
Oh, that's not her.
The pool looked at each other. I know they were doing the same thing as me, counting heads. There were 3 of us on this side of the pool, and here came Alyssa walking over to our side. So who was that on the other side?
Get out of the pool.
Alyssa got in, but the 3 of us were distracted, looking at the head bobbing around the water across the pool.
Like, who is that?
Who's that?
James said across the pool, "Who is that?" Not even 2 seconds later, the head went underwater and disappeared from view.
Get out of the pool.
Get out.
We took
Time
this
to get
time
out.
to whisper to each other, mostly things like, what should we do?
Get out.
Get out.
Security. And should we run?
Yes.
Suddenly I
Yeah.
felt something grab my leg with force and try pulling
Ooh.
me down into the water. I kicked, splashed, and yelled for help. James came over to pull me out of the pool, while the girls were already running for it, screaming.
Jasmine.
No, I
It
help
wasn't until
you.
I got to the stairs
You.
of the pool that the grip on my leg was
Everybody
released
else will
and
feel
I was
sorry for
free.
her.
We hopped the same fence we climbed over to get in and ran all the way back to Alyssa's house. I was convinced that whoever that was a security guard.
I think so,
That is,
teaching you
until they
lessons.
literally tried to pull me under the water.
I don't think so. Why would the
Don't know
security
what to
guard go
think.
swimming?
There are a few possibilities.
All he would do is just
Maybe
flash
it
the
was
light
just
on
another
you.
kid messing with us.
Say,
Maybe
"Hey!"
it was a security guard who
That's it.
went way too far. Or most likely, it was a dangerous person who had ill intents.
It was a killer. Ain't no security guard going swimming.
It might be like a security guard that's like, I'm gonna teach these kids a lesson
Oh, and drag you down?
and drag them down, and they'll never do it again.
Ordinary day like any other. 85 degrees out, family
Ew.
getting ready to jump in the pool.
That pool was
I
nice.
was looking for my 6-year-old
Yeah.
brother so I could help him into the pool, but I thought I'd just wait for him in the pool instead. My parents were still inside while I got ready to jump in the pool, but I didn't, because I saw something dark sitting at the bottom of the pool. It took me a few seconds to realize it was my little 6-year-old brother at the bottom of the
Oh,
pool.
my.
Get
It took my
him.
young brain a few moments to realize he wasn't playing around.
He was drowning.
I screamed in such a loud and high pitch, you would think it was a little girl if you heard it.
I don't blame you.
I remember the feeling of my skin crawling as my helpless 8-year-old self didn't know what to do. My parents burst out the back door. My dad dove into the pool and grabbed my little brother from the bottom.
There you go.
It was nothing short of a miracle that my dad managed to resuscitate him, though. There on after, we weren't allowed back into the pool unsupervised
bet.
until we were both at least 10 years old.
I thought you were going to say like 13.
That's crazy, huh? I'm watching our kids.
Yeah,
all
we're
5
watching
of
our
them.
kid.
You don't let Jessica
I
go there.
remember waking up from a deep
Jessica.
sleep and looking at the clock, seeing it was around 2 in the morning, when I heard splashes coming from my pool in the backyard. My bedroom window didn't have a view of the pool, so I
Could
had
be
to
an
run
animal.
downstairs to the den to get a view.
Think about it.
And let me tell you, I was freaking out on my way down there, especially given that I live alone. The blind was shut, but the windows were open.
You live
and I
alone
could still
with a
hear a
dog?
little splashing coming from the pool. I had to be quiet opening the blinds, otherwise I risked exposing myself. I lifted the blinds only enough to get a view of the pool, but the splashing stopped. I waited a few minutes before deciding it was safe to go outside.
Call
I
the
walked
police.
up to the pool and nearly had a heart attack when I saw a body submerged underwater on the shallow end.
What?
I pulled the body out of the water, hoping it was more than just a body still, but he didn't seem to be breathing. I looked around my yard in a panic, and by an off chance, caught a glimpse of somebody standing in my bushes. I ran back inside of my house and
That
called
person-
911.
Killed him.
The police arrived surprisingly quickly and followed me to the backyard to find nothing but an empty pool.
He took the
Was
body.
gone, and so was the person standing in my bushes.
They try to dump that body off in the pool
Yeah, and then
so they can pretend like they drowned.
yeah. Or he drowned him in the pool
This happened when we were
and
staying in
didn't
a
think that
small
somebody was going to
country
hear
inn.
him.
It was a family trip to some distant resort where our extended family would be meeting us. It was such a long drive, however, that we needed to stop for the night. The inn was across the street from some big fruit stand and some crops. Other than that, it was thick forest in every direction. There were a couple other cars parked in the parking lot, so we weren't the only ones. We arrived there after eating dinner at some small diner, so the day was basically over. The sun had set, but it was still early and we didn't know what to do. So we decided to hop in the pool that the inn surprisingly had. There was no one around to stop us, so as far as we knew, it was allowed. We kind of just played typical pool games that we played ever
Marco
since we were
Polo.
little kids, like Shark. We thought it being dark made it
Hello.
fun, although it was kind of creepy being surrounded by nothing but forest for miles. For whatever reason, I was peering over to the woods. There was a guy just standing by a couple trees. He didn't appear to be attempting to hide or anything. It was blatantly obvious he was glaring over to us. I did a little side head nod to my brother to let him know what I saw. He looked over and said, "Jesus Christ, that's creepy." The man then walked over to the poolside and took a seat on one of the lounge chairs. He just looked at us and said, "Wonderful night for a swim, huh?"
No.
Alright,
With
bro.
a pretty off-putting chuckle.
I'm going to actually go back.
My brother and I did our little fake polite laughs and said, "Yeah." Meanwhile, all that we were
I'm
thinking
not.
was, "Alright, it's time to get out of the pool."
Yeah.
But I guess we didn't want to make it obvious that we were leaving because of him. It was so painfully uncomfortable that my brother and I didn't even speak to each other.
It was just in the
Then
water.
the man got up, still watching us, and walked over literally to the edge of the pool and just stood there looking down at us. Eventually I asked if he worked with the hotel,
Okay.
and he completely ignored my question. That's when things got really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I whispered to my brother we should go. As soon as we started moving towards the ladder, the man started walking fast over to the ladder. So we stopped and stayed in the pool.
Oh, my Lord.
We played it off like nothing about it was weird, but my heart was racing, and I knew my brother's was too. The pool had stairs on one side as well, but as we tried to make our way over to them,
He ran over
the
there.
man seemed to inch his way to the stairs too. We were trapped in there.
I was split. Like,
Not
one go to
knowing
one
what he
side,
was
other one to the
planning.
other.
But by some stroke of luck, our dad appeared from behind the corner of the building, calling us to come out of the pool. We both screamed help and accused the man of trying to hurt dad, who was much taller than the man, sized him up,
Bet.
pushed him, yelled at him, and threatened to call the police. I remember
There you
the
go,
man
Dad.
didn't say anything in response. He just walked away slowly as my dad yelled curse words at him. His reaction to our dad alone suggested that he had intentions of doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And God forbid, kidnapping us.
Oh my lord. I would have just split. One go to one side.
But then he
one
can
to
get
the
one
other
of
side.
you. You little kid.
But then I can run and get him.
He's gone. Your brother will be gone.
I think I can run after.
Don't split up. That's what you don't do. In horror movies, they always split
share
up.
a very disturbing
It's not like
memory
you're going
from my
down
early
a
years.
dark hallway. It's like you're
My name is Daniel. When I was 6, maybe 7 years old, our family lived in New Jersey. Our old house was on a very quiet street. We had the same next-door neighbor living next to us for as long as I was alive. One hot day, when it was just my dad home, the neighbor came over and introduced himself to me as Paul. He asked my dad if he could take me to his pool, and from what I remember, he seemed very genuine and nice. I guess that's why my dad let me go with him.
I'll be like, why do you want him to
I
go to
remember
your
hopping
pool?
around on the shallow end of his pool, and he swam in the deeper end, watching me the whole time, smiling. He asked me questions like where I go to school, what I do for fun,
None of your
what shows
business.
do I like, and so on.
No.
He asked me if I knew how to swim, and I shook my head no. He swam over to me and started lifting my legs and arms, trying to show me how to swim. It didn't really work out, but he
I
said
bet.
he'd invite me over one night and keep helping me.
Night.
Well, apparently one night was the next night. I heard splashes coming from the pool next door from my room as I was laying in bed. I opened the window and saw Paul looking up to my window, waving. He called up to my window to come on over with my bathing suit.
I don't think so.
Excited by the thought of it, I threw on my bathing suit and snuck out the front door. It's funny. I knew well enough that what I was doing would go against my parents, given that I knew to sneak out. That night as we were in the pool together, Paul was extra touchy as he was supposedly showing me how
Of
to
course
swim.
he is.
But
He's
at
a-
the same time,
Trying to do
I didn't
something to
realize
you.
what was going on. Suddenly, I heard the shout of my dad from my window. And less than half a minute
Get back
later, my
here.
dad was in Paul's backyard, yelling at him, threatening to get a restraining order if he ever came near me again.
That's right,
My
Dad.
parents had me describe what Paul did to me, and I said nothing, because that's truthfully what I believed. They told me to never speak to Paul again, and pretty soon started looking for a new house.
Yep. I
In
bet.
the meantime, however, one night out of curiosity,
I thought
I
it was
sat up
over.
from my bed and looked out the window. There was Paul, standing in his pool,
Ah.
looking up at my window, waving me over once again, but also putting his finger on his lips, meaning to be quiet. I shut the blinds and ignored him, listening to my parents.
Oh my God.
A few nights later, around the same time, there was a knock at the window. Or at least I thought it was a knock at first. It just sounded like a loud thump. Then there was another one. I opened my window and saw Paul down below in our backyard. He spoke up to me in a soft voice,
I don't
asking
think
me to
so.
sneak down and we'll hang out inside his house. I
Inside
shut
his
the window and
house.
went straight to my
Okay.
parents' room and told them.
Thank you.
My mom screamed at my dad to go break Paul's neck. My mom held me in her arms as she got on the phone with the police.
Don't
Meanwhile,
go
we both
break
heard
his
my
neck.
dad yelling incomprehensible things outside. Paul was arrested for
Right.
attempting to lure a child.
Thank you.
I don't know much else about what happened though, because the next day, my mom and I stayed with my grandma until we moved to a new house. I never really talk about this with my parents, only because it's very uncomfortable to talk about. And it's also just a painful memory.
It's pedophile Paul.
Wow, that last story was crazy. Oh my God.
I would go to jail. I would go to jail if
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah, let me touch one of my 5
That's
children.
what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
keep saying 5. I feel like once we have like 2, that's when you're gonna be like, you know what? I don't know about 5. Maybe 3.
No, you're gonna have twins. I have one set of twins, right? And then you're gonna have 3 separate other times.
Okay, I hope that I have at least one. If you want 5, I want at least one set of twins so I could just knock out.
Yeah,
2.
knock out 2, right?
Just-
You're gonna have twins. I'm telling you that.
Hopefully that's like
You're
the first.
no.
twin.
Hopefully you're gonna have twins.
Like when I'm pregnant the first time.
Not the first time.
I'm saying to
2
have
boys.
twins.
2 boys.
What? It can't be a boy and a girl,
Knock them out, and then
or
a
a
girl,
girl and a girl.
and then a girl, and then I don't care about the last one.
just whatever.
Roll the die. Like, no. But yeah, that last one
my
was the
gosh.
creepiest one. The last one was the creepiest one. I did not enjoy that last one. That was.
It should be creepy enough that you look outside your bedroom window and you see a grown man swimming at nighttime and then looking right at your window and saying, "Hi, come here, come swim with me. This looks fun." Like, no, like,
That's creepy.
I don't think so. So,
yeah. Anyway, guys.
make sure you